Hello and welcome to Calmvestor podcast. I am Ethan. Join me on this journey to build solid financial thinking and take control of your financial future. Have you ever noticed how certain ideas about money or investments seem to just take off? Suddenly, everyone is talking about the same stock, the same opportunity, or the same impending doom. Think about a recent investment craze. Maybe it was a new cryptocurrency, a meme stock, or a particular type of real estate. The story around it was powerful, wasn't it? Phrases like this will change the world or get in before it's too late echoed everywhere. These narratives, these stories, spread like wildfire, influencing prices and driving behavior, often without us consciously realizing their full impact. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why does it seem like the entire market sometimes rushes into one asset class and then, just as quickly, stampedes out? Is every decision based purely on rational analysis and cold, hard facts? Today, we're diving deep into how these economic narratives are not just simple tales, but powerful forces shaping our financial lives. This is a concept even Nobel Prize-winning economists are keenly interested in. Robert Shiller, a Nobel laureate, said, "The spread of new narratives, or modifications of old ones, has the potential to be a powerful force in economic fluctuations." It's a fascinating thought. Think of the Dutch tulip mania in the 17th century, or the dot-com bubble of the late 90s. Stories of a new era pushed asset values to unbelievable heights, often detached from reality. These are classic examples of narratives at play. So, what exactly are economic narratives? They're more than just anecdotes. They are widely shared structures of thought that help us explain economic events and, crucially, can shape future outcomes. Robert Shiller coined the term narrative economics. He studies how popular, easily spread stories, almost like viruses, affect our economic behavior, both individually and as a society. These narratives can influence everything from consumer spending to investment decisions and can even contribute to major economic events like recessions or asset bubbles. This ties in beautifully with the work of another Nobel laureate, Daniel Kahneman, author of Thinking, Fast and Slow. He explains we have two systems of thinking. Our system one is fast, intuitive, and emotional. It's easily captivated by compelling, simple stories. It prefers a good story over complex, data-heavy analysis, which is the domain of our slower, more deliberate system two. A narrative isn't just news. It's an interpretation of the news, often packaged with emotion, a moral angle, and an easy-to-understand cause and effect sequence. This makes it very digestible for our system one. As Shiller puts it, the human brain has always been highly tuned toward narratives, whether factual or not, to justify ongoing actions. We use stories to make sense of things and validate our choices. And Kahneman adds, we are prone to exaggerate the consistency and coherence of what we see. This cognitive bias makes well-crafted narratives even more persuasive, as they offer a seemingly neat explanation. These narratives can be incredibly positive. They can inspire innovation, encourage prudent investment, and drive progress. Think of stories about groundbreaking technologies or community development. But they can also be negative, designed to create fear, cause panic, or lead us into poor decisions. The key is to recognize them for what they are. Consider the American dream narrative. It has profoundly influenced consumer behavior, savings habits, and the willingness to take entrepreneurial risks for generations. The main problem arises when we don't identify and critically evaluate these economic narratives. We can easily become swayed by misinformation or emotional appeals, leading to unwise financial choices. One major issue is herd mentality. When a compelling story gains traction, it can create a bandwagon effect. Many people start doing the same thing, often without independent analysis, simply because everyone else is. Then there's confirmation bias. We humans tend to seek out and believe stories that align with our pre-existing beliefs or desires, often ignoring conflicting information, no matter how valid. In our digital age, stories, both true and false, spread incredibly fast, especially through social media. This makes it increasingly difficult to verify information and distinguish credible narratives from noise. And let's not forget the power of emotions. Narratives often tap into our deepest feelings: greed, fear, hope. When emotions are high, our rational thinking can take a back seat, leading to impulsive decisions. The consequences can be significant. Buying assets at their peak price only to sell in a panic at the bottom, investing in fraudulent schemes dressed up in attractive stories, or missing out on genuine opportunities due to unfounded negative narratives. Charles Mackay, who wrote about popular delusions, famously said, "Men, it has been well said, think in herds. it will be seen that they go mad in herds, while they only recover their senses slowly and one by one. Think about the persistent narrative of getting rich quick with no effort or knowledge. This story is a favorite of scammers behind many dubious investment projects that ultimately collapse. Or consider the narrative. The market is about to crash. That pops up with every minor piece of bad news. This can cause inexperienced investors to sell valuable assets prematurely out of fear. So what's the root cause of our susceptibility to narratives? Our brains are fundamentally wired to prioritize and remember information presented as a story. Since ancient times, stories have been the primary way to pass on vital experiences, lessons, and cultural values. Our brains evolved to process narratives far more effectively than dry, raw data. We also have an innate need for coherence and meaning. We constantly try to find logical order in events. Stories provide a ready-made cause and effect framework, even if it's sometimes an oversimplification. Good stories are often intertwined with emotion, and as Kahneman's work shows, emotion is a powerful driver of action. Our System 1 thinking thrives on these emotionally resonant narratives. Furthermore, we are social beings. We share and absorb stories from those around us, especially from people we trust, admire, or see as authorities. This social transmission amplifies a narrative's reach. And finally, the world of economics and finance can be incredibly complex and uncertain. Narratives help simplify these complex concepts, making them more accessible. But this simplification can sometimes distort the underlying reality. Psychologist Jerome Bruner noted, "We organize our experience and our memory of human happenings, mainly in the form of narrative. Stories are fundamental to how we understand the world and ourselves." So how can we avoid being led by the nose by compelling but potentially misleading economic narratives? The key lies in developing critical thinking, diversifying our information sources, and always cross-referencing with facts and fundamental principles. First, learn to identify and dissect the narrative. Ask yourself, who is telling this story? What might their interests or biases be, directly or indirectly? Does the story hold together logically? Are there inconsistencies or contradictions with known facts or data? What evidence is being presented, if any? Is it solid or just anecdotal? Pay attention to the emotions the story evokes in you. Is it making you feel greedy, fearful, or overly optimistic? Is that emotion potentially clouding your rational judgment? Second, consciously activate your System 2 thinking, as Daniel Kahneman advises. This means slowing down. Don't make quick decisions based solely on the initial impression a story gives you. Actively seek out counter-arguments and different perspectives. Ask yourself, what if the opposite of this story is true? Challenge the narrative's assumptions. Third, diversify your sources of information and perhaps build a personal advisory board. Read and listen to a variety of credible sources, especially those with differing viewpoints. Avoid getting trapped in an information echo chamber. Consult with people whose experience and knowledge you trust. And always, always compare the narrative against fundamental financial principles. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. As Carl Sagan wisely said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. This is particularly relevant when you hear stories about guaranteed high returns or can't-miss opportunities. For example, when you hear a story about a superstock that's about to skyrocket, don't just buy in. Investigate. Look at the company's business model, its financial reports, its leadership team. Compare it with competitors and seek out independent analysis. Similarly, if the market is panicking because of a rumor, take a breath. Verify the source of the information. Consider the actual potential impact on the underlying economy or the specific businesses you are invested in, rather than just following the crowd. This week, I encourage you to try this. When you encounter any piece of information related to money or investing, pause and ask, what is the story being told here? Who is telling it? And does it truly make sense with what I know? You might want to explore Robert Shiller's Narrative Economics or Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow for a deeper dive into these fascinating topics. In essence, economic narratives are an undeniable part of our human experience and the financial world. They possess immense power, both for good and for ill. We cannot eliminate stories from our lives, nor should we want to, but we can all become more discerning listeners, more critical readers, and more thoughtful analysts of the narratives that surround us. By understanding their power and by honing our critical thinking skills, we can transform narratives from potential pitfalls into valuable tools for making smarter, more autonomous financial decisions. The goal is to become the architect of your own financial narrative, one that is grounded in your personal goals, your understanding, and your discipline, rather than being passively carried along by the currents of other people's stories. Imagine a community of investors and consumers who are more discerning, more critical, and more informed. Such a community would contribute to a healthier, more stable, and more sustainable financial marketplace for everyone. As Napoleon Hill said, "You are the master of your destiny. You can influence, direct, and control your own environment. You can make your life what you want it to be." Start by mastering the narratives that influence your financial life. Thanks for listening. If you found this content valuable, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next episode. Have an amazing day filled with positive energy.